I can still remember the first time I heard the word. It sort of caught me off guard. I was like, pardon? What did you say? Funny thing was, it was a friend of mine and it was actually her word of the year. So what was the word? The word is equanimity. Your reaction might be the same as mine. What? Equanimity. It's a state of mental calmness, composure, under pressure or stress. What it does for me is it just sort of creates this goal or target. It kind of sums up an idea of being able to be in a situation that is stressful and being able to be calm and being able to come at it from a place of emotional stability. And it really wrapped that all up into one word. And the word has kind of come up at very interesting points in my life. I remember when I used to travel quite a bit for work. I was traveling 2 to 3 times a month. And, there's a special kind of stress that comes with travel, canceled flights, hotels that don't work out, your rental car is not there, all these kind of things. And so a friend of mine has a YouTube channel called Ghost Armor, and he posted this YouTube short where he was talking about this trip. He was coming back from Hamilton. And so he starts out, he gets on the airplane, they're all loaded up and ready to go. And there's a mechanical failure. Something goes wrong with the plane. So they get everybody off the plane. And the next flight out isn't actually for 3 days. So he books an Airbnb, finds a place to stay, goes over to the Airbnb, and it sounds like it was a less than ideal experience. Maybe what was advertised wasn't actually what he showed up to. Finally gets on the plane, 3 days later flies into Vancouver, and it's like one of the worst snowstorms we've had in ages. We had like feet of snow here. We don't get that much snow here in Vancouver, but he flew into that. Gets home to his wife and family and tests positive for COVID and has to go into isolation. But, it was a great video because he was talking and encouraging the people that watch his videos to respond and not to react. And I loved it because for me, when I watched that, I said, what it was a picture of a man who was walking in equanimity because he was calm, he was composed, even in a very stressful situation. And I was really impressed. And so thinking about this word equanimity got me thinking and asking the question, okay, so how do I respond or react in stressful situations? There's obviously situations where I can think of, maybe you can too, but my initial reaction is I get frustrated. I know when I get tired or frustrated or stressed out, I can become short with people. My temper can flare up quicker. I can respond quicker with, negative or degrading words, or elevate my voice or yell or something like that. Not super common, but it definitely can happen. But the other one that I thought was really interesting and I started to recognize, sometimes I find when I am stressed, I react with anxiety. Now, anxiety is it's a big word, and I think there's a lot of different reasons why we might have anxiety in our life, and I don't want to make it any lighter than it is here in this conversation. If you're dealing with anxiety or depression, one of the big things that I would encourage is reach out and just ask for somebody to talk to, because that can just bring light to the situation and help you to see things from a different perspective and at least open up so somebody else knows what you're walking through. But for myself, what I started to recognize is that when I'm dealing with anxiety, and I've walked through many seasons of anxiety in my life, is that I'm reacting. I'm allowing that sort of overriding feeling to kind of take over. So when I'm stressed, I'm kind of going, okay, can I come and walk through this situation in equanimity? Not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of the people around me, for the benefit of the people that I serve. This is not something that I do really well, but it's something that I want to strive to do better. And having a word like equanimity, it kind of paints a picture in my mind that allows me and gives me something to strive for. So whether you recognize that your stress response is anger, frustration, or anxiety, I think one of the first things that we can do is build that sort of muscle of gratitude, of being grateful for so many of the incredible blessings that we have in our life, for God's purpose in our life, for our family, for our friends, for the fact that we get to wake up another day with breath in our lungs. It's not a light switch. It doesn't just turn on and all of a sudden everything's better. It's a muscle. It's something that grows and builds over time. And I think that's a really powerful tool, and it's something that moves us towards being in a state of equanimity. It moves us towards that sort of sense of calm when we're in more stressful situations. It's a very actionable thing. It requires us to take a very specific action to be grateful when we're maybe not feeling that way, when we're feeling frustrated, or if we're feeling anxious or angry. Of course, there's more than just gratitude. In Philippians 4, verse 8, Paul writes, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And what I love about these verses is that they're very actionable steps, things that we can do, things that we can choose to respond by thinking about, whatever is pure, whatever is noble, whatever is true, things that are excellent and praiseworthy. I think when Paul writes this, he's not saying, when you feel like it, think about these things. He says, think about these things. And from my interpretation and the way I look at it, he's like, think about this all the time. This is what we should be thinking about. And it's asking us to take captive our thoughts, to choose to think about these things. And when I think about that, it kind of pushes me in the right direction. And I have to be very specific about my thoughts to keep them focused on those types of things. I love that verse because I find it incredibly encouraging, not just in an uplifting and encouraging way, but it's sort of encouraging in that here's something I can take and I can run with. And when we do that, when I think about those words, you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think that I'm in a state of equanimity, that I am calm and composed because I'm thinking about the right things. I'm thinking about the things that God's calling me to think about in my day-to-day life. So I hope you have an absolutely incredible rest of your day. If you haven't already taken a moment to subscribe to the channel, please do. It really does help to get these videos out there, and I look forward to the opportunity to share with you again next week. Have a great day, everybody.